Hello and welcome to the training on managing diversity. This is for managing a diverse workforce. I'm ABotten. So what is diversity and why is this so important to managers? Diversity is valuing the differences and the unique perspectives that each person can bring to a project. Managing diversity is a facilitation and communication in developing a culture, embracing individuals and their contributions and perspectives, the mutual benefit for the organization and the individual. So again, the managing diversity is the concern with the individual and not for the group. Managing a wide variety of knowledge, skills, and abilities on their team to come to better solutions and have a better efficiency and productivity. Having the employees with differing values, benefits, and attitudes bring different ideas and perspectives to the table. For example, having a team built with employees from different cultures, differing education levels and experience, even a wide variety of genders will help the team thrive more with different perspectives, thoughtful solutions that can be brought together. So one person can have an idea and not quite know where to run with that, but the team can collectively bring in their perspectives and their experience to come to the great solution that none of them could have came to on their own. Common mistakes with when you don't manage diversities. So first, cross-cultural communications. This can arise from common language, differing communication styles that causes friction among employees with diverse backgrounds. So for instance, some individuals are more comfortable with direct language and are task-oriented, and many other cultures prefer communication to be less direct, more relationship-oriented. Now, tension can increase when communication fails, so potentially causing turnover, resulting in poor productivity on the team for the team and more work for other team members, causing them to burn out. It's just a cycle that will continue if we're not managing the diversity. So understanding the way that the language, if they prefer direct or more indirect communication. So next is what you say, the words that you say. Employees prefer direct communication styles. We're commonly responsive to bold and blunt words like absolutely, concrete, totally. We're less direct communicators would prefer a softer approach. They want to soften the blow. So things like maybe, a bit, or even sort of, in order to meet the employee's comfort level. So ensuring you as the manager understands the individual is needing different communication style. So for example, this means that you will need to reassess your message to your team. And that when you understand that if you are speaking with an employee that prefers direct communication and you speak to them with indirect communication, you might bore them. Where in the opposite effect, where if you're speaking to someone who prefers indirect communication and you speak to them more directly, they may feel that you're more intimidating. So really understanding what style of communication they prefer is definitely going to help. Next is know your audience. So delivering the effective feedback to employees and in some cases changing the way the communication style to help ensure the effectiveness of the delivery. So understand how they best communicate means you took the time to get to know the employees. So and when you do that, you're building your relationship with them and you're understanding them more as a way to communicate, and which in turn builds morale. So I think that's a great example of how we can know your audience more is really getting to know who your employees are and building that relationship with them. It also builds trust, which is definitely important here. Next is feedback tools. Understand the assessment tools a manager will use in order to deliver feedback. So here in the United States, a 360 feedback assessment is common, meaning that the employees will receive performance feedback from not only their supervisors, but also coworkers and customers anonymously. And lastly, the delivery feedback. So follow 4 steps to giving feedback. So simply ask, be specific, and impact the employee behavior, and then discuss the next step. So first, you need to simply ask if they have any feedback for you. Ask yourself what areas need improvement, and then be specific. Don't just say, well, I think that you're doing okay in this area. You need to be specific. You're struggling with XYZ, but you're really succeeding in ABC. You need to know the impact that this is going to bring to the employees and their behavior, and be able to really communicate the next steps for them of how can they improve, but how can they also not only improve themselves, but how is this going to improve the impact on the team? Is there an upside to managing diversity effectively? Of course, everything I just said, there can be some turbulence in the areas we just discussed. So first, better decision making. So for example, better decision making means having diverse teams and diverse experiences. So having that wide variety of people, experiences, backgrounds, protected classes, all of that coming together will build a more effective team who can come to better decisions together. Better organizational culture and more innovation. So this means that when you have that diversity, it opens up the creative thinking and it makes people feel more welcome. So you're able to have that more positive culture. The creative thinking leads to more innovative ideas. Next, improved recruitment and retention. So when you have a diverse culture which is looked upon positively, you have a great culture, not only are you going to be able to keep your top talent, but they're going to have tell their friends that, hey, you should come work with me too. It's a great place to work. Meaning you're going to get better talent, because people don't bring people on to teams that are going to be poor workers. They typically bring people who are going to have strong backgrounds, maybe people they've worked with professionally in the past. And then improved image with minority groups. When we have diversity and it's managed effectively, the positivity that comes through having that great culture, the open communication, and bringing in other people will resonate with a positive image to everyone, not only minorities, but everybody, where it's specific culture, specific genders, specific anything you could think of for diversity. It's going to bring more people to us, resulting in more business, honestly. So implications for managing diversity in the development office. So step one, set the stage for success. So if you set the stage for success, that means that you are making sure that your staff is ready to accept diversity as important to the success of the organization. You need to let your employees, for example, understand the importance of this. So why we're doing something, and this is the direct result. Next is communicate to facilitate understanding. So when you communicate to facilitate understanding, that involves discussing diversity in a way that will overcome the anxiety and uncertainty that occur when individuals encounter differences. So, for example, how often have you heard things like, I'm sorry, apparently we had misunderstood each other, or there was a failure to communicate? Seems like there's never enough communication, but what's really missing is the mindful communication. And that means that we're thinking before we're speaking, and we're listening before we reply. So really making sure that we have effective and constructive feedback towards our teams and each other. And finally, step three, monitor success. So with any important endeavor, progress should be monitored and positive experiences reinforced. Establishing this culture encourages and accepts the differences. So when you're mindful of the resistance and resolve the conflicts, and you provide continuing experiences, these are all important components to maintaining the development of the office that embraces diversity, which in turn can bring more people on, bring more customers in. Having a diverse culture has a direct correspondence to not only the internal customers, but the external customers as well. In conclusion, diversity, it builds the organization with unique perspectives from those with different backgrounds, education levels, cultures, genders, everything like that. So it really builds up the organization and gives it more depth. While things can go wrong, there's always ways to overcome challenges. So communication is definitely a driving force in helping with the problems. And really, so understanding where your team is coming from and what your team needs. Effective management is definitely needed. It helps with the retention, the productivity, and the efficiency. We've talked about that. So really making sure that we can keep the top talent that we have and bring in better talent as well. Keeping that diverse culture will help improve our productivity and our efficiency, driving results for the organization as a whole. So that is the conclusion of the training. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.